My name's Alana, and this is my service dog, Toothless.
So how did you meet the dogs?
So I met Toothless just at the Cleveland Animal Protective League. We're from Cleveland, and I picked her up as a 9-week-old puppy.
Oh. And what about the other dog?
So my other dog is named Hiccup. He's a service dog in training, and I was actually reached out to from a friend of mine who works in rescue, and she got contacted by a golden retriever breeder who had an oops litter as a neighbor dog had broken into her yard, and she wasn't sure what to do with the puppies. So I got contacted, and I drove about 3 hours into Michigan to pick him up. So he was, I think, 15 weeks old at the time.
What is your favorite moment with both Hiccup and Toothless?
I have a lot of good moments with both of them, so picking a single favorite would probably be hard. I'm not sure. Any time that there's a big win, like maybe a task or a trick that they've been struggling to learn and they have a breakthrough, is really exciting for me and some of my favorite memories. For a long time, Toothless really struggled to pick up items, including the dice. So when we finally made a breakthrough there, that was really exciting. The first time we entered a trick competition and won, that was a really good feeling for Toothless. She jump ropes, that was our winning trick.
Oh.
Let's see, for Hiccup, honestly, it was he was a year and a half old, and I was really struggling with his training at that point because he was just so rambunctious and had such a short attention span. And we actually left him home for Colossalcon Prime. We left him home, and I was gone for a week, and I came back to pick him up, and it was like I picked up a different dog. And I think he figured out, if I'm as good as Toothless, I get to go too. And he really came around and shaped up. They're dogs, they have good days at work and bad days at work the same way we do. But that was a really big breakthrough coming home from Colossalcon Prime, and him being a lot more focused on me, being a lot more driven to work with me and connect with me than he had previously been. So that was a big win for him too. But also I have favorite memories of just them being silly. So Toothless loves to roll around in the grass, and she loves to roll in the grass down a hill. And she loves to look at fish. So we go to the aquarium, and I let her look at the fish, and it makes her so happy. And Hiccup gets super excited about toys and playing fetch and stuff, but he's also very clumsy and silly. So he'll do somersaults or run into walls, and he's very, very silly. And so a lot of good memories with them, and it would be really hard to pick a favorite.
So what are the challenges of training a service dog?
There are so many challenges. The number one thing is the time commitment. It is more than a 40-hour-a-week job. So if you're already trying to do another job on top of that to pay the bills, and you're trying to train service dogs, it is so much of your time, because you basically are training them from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed. On top of that, every dog is different. So one of the things I really struggled with Hiccup for the first year I had him is I was trying to train him exactly how I trained Toothless. And I went, that system worked, how I trained Toothless worked, so I'm gonna just do that again. At the end of the day, Hiccup is a different dog and needed different support for his training. He just needed different types of training, different training tools, etc. And once I let that go, he really started shaping up and doing a lot better. But that's a huge difficulty, is just having to change your training tactics depending on the dog in front of you. It's hard financially because you're having to cover all their veterinary bills, their food, their toys, their training treats, their gear. All that stuff really racks up as well. So it's very expensive, which is why it's absolutely a privilege. While it's not fun to be disabled, and being disabled can really negatively impact your life on a day-to-day basis, and it can be frustrating, it is an immense privilege, and it's truly freeing to be able to have a service dog, despite that high cost.
So can you explain the no petting rule for people who might not know what it means?
Yeah, so service dogs generally will wear vests that say do not pet, or do not engage, do not talk to, do not photograph, etc. And that's because it can be distracting for them. They are trying to do their job, and if you were sitting at your computer at your desk and trying to do your job and somebody came up and started touching you without your permission and started talking to you while you're trying to focus on your job, that would be really distracting. We don't want our dogs to be distracted while they are working for a variety of reasons. I use my dogs for medical alert, and I don't want my dogs to miss the scent cue that they use to pick up that I'm going to have a medical episode. We don't want them to miss that because they're distracted because someone's talking to them, petting them, etc. And on top of that, if somebody's got a guide dog, right, and the guide dog is guiding them through a crowded area or through the street, we don't want that guide dog to be distracted because somebody's talking or petting it and then accidentally lead their handler into an unsafe situation. So there's lots of reasons. The other thing is, in general, you shouldn't be petting animals without asking regardless. A lot of people will say, oh, it's a service dog, you have to ask to pet. But you should ask to pet any animal that is not yours.
Agree.
So, yeah.
That's just basic respect. So how did you get your dogs registered?
So there's actually no registry for service dogs. That's a common misconception. There are registries for therapy dogs and emotional support animals, but there are no registries for service dogs. There's no training hour limit or anything like that per the Americans with Disabilities Act. The main things that they have to be trained for is they have to be trained in tasks that mitigate your disability. So for example, one of the things that trigger my medical episodes is my blood pressure is very low. So a lot of times if I bend over to pick something up, it can lower my blood pressure further and then send me into a medical episode. So my dogs are trained to pick up items for me. They can also, again, alert me to a medical episode so I can handle it and treat it before it gets bad enough that I would have a medical episode. So they're a preventative for me. So they're helping me in a lot of ways in my daily life. So the number one thing is they have to be task trained. They have to specifically do a job to mitigate your disability. They also have to be public access trained, meaning that you can put them in lots of environments and they're not going to be barking, jumping on people, taking people's stuff, eating food off the floor. They have to be calm and respectful in big convention environments like this. And then they have to be fully housebroken. If your animal, is not mitigating your disability, then it is not a service dog. And if it is not public access trained and that you're going out and the dog is barking at people, lunging at people, freaking out, jumping everywhere, the venue can ask you to leave. And if the animal is not housebroken, then the venue can also ask you to leave. They do have to give you a way to finish your transaction. So let's say you were grocery shopping, they can complete your transaction outside the store. But they do have the rights to ask you to leave if your animal is being unruly or is not housebroken.
So I know you went over this a little bit before, but what is a fun moment that you have shared with both doggies?
With both dogs? I'm trying to think of something we do together with them, because a lot of what I do with them, I do one at a time.
Or you can share one per dog if that's easier.
Toothless in general, she's an agility queen and a trick queen. So anytime I can teach her a new trick or get her on the agility ring, she has an absolute blast. Those are her kind of favorite hobbies besides looking at fish. I know. Good memory, a fun memory with Toothless is I took her to an aquarium because she's always loved fish. My grandmother had a fish tank, and she would sit in front of my grandma's fish tank and just watch the fish. So I took her to an aquarium. She loved the aquarium. And then I took her to a different aquarium that had penguins. And she loves penguins. She will stare at the penguins. Her tail goes a mile a minute. She doesn't bark or freak out, but they just make her really happy. She will sit there or stand and just watch the penguins for hours if I let her. She loves fish and she loves penguins. So that's just something cute to her, that's specific to her, that like Hiccup doesn't care at all about fish. He could not be bothered. But Toothless loves fish. Hiccup is a retriever. He's a field line golden retriever and border collie mix. And the field line golden retriever is very strong in him. He feels very strongly about bringing me things. He will bring me anything. So for example, if I have a medical episode and I'm unconscious when I come to, not only has he brought me my medicine bag and my water, which is what he's trained to do, but if I've been out for a while, he will also just bring me anything he can find. which can include a pot for my kitchen, or a shoe, or whatever utensil he can get his mouth on. He's brought me a fork before, a couple spoons. He's brought me a plate. Sometimes I get random snacks that he can find. A pizza crust out of the trash. He won't eat the pizza crust, he just brings me the pizza crust. And then he is also very enthusiastic about bringing friends home, and the friends are live animals that he does not hurt or injure or kill. He just picks them up, and his line of golden retrievers specifically have something called soft mouth, where they are very gentle with their mouths, and they are bred to do that since they are bred to retrieve birds, and bird bones are generally pretty fragile, so if you crush the bird, then the bird meat is unusable. So that's why they are specifically bred to have that soft mouth capability. And he takes that very seriously and will bring me live animals and then try to bring said live animals into my house. So he has caught multiple squirrels. A duck is probably his greatest claim to fame, is he brought me a live wild duck that was entirely unharmed, was able to fly away no issue. I inspected it, didn't even have feathers really ruffled. He brought me a duck, he's brought me a groundhog. He has not succeeded in a bunny yet, he has tried, but I'm also nervous that he would just give the bunny a heart attack. And there are several neighborhood deer that he tries to herd towards the house to try to get them to come in our house. Because he just really wants to bring me a friend.
Aww.
So I think Hiccup's fun stories. Oh, and then Hiccup's favorite hobby is collecting crayons. He loves crayons. Crayola is preferred. He does have a crayon brand preference. If you offer him a bucket of Crayola and a bucket of like Rose Art or anything else, he will choose a Crayola crayon. He's not picky about color. He's very enthusiastic. He likes to pick them up and then show them to everybody in the room. And then he will sit and lay with it till like the paper melts off from the saliva in his mouth. He loves crayons.
So what is your favorite cosplay duo with Toothless?
What is my favorite cosplay duo? Our most popular is definitely Luffy and Nami from One Piece, where I'm Nami and she is Luffy, because people love the tiny straw hat.
Aww.
They feel very passionate about the tiny straw hat. Our favorite, I think, bigger group we've done is I've got two friends that do the Powerpuff Girls with me, and Toothless is the mayor of Townsville, and Hiccup, not here at the convention, but we've done it outside of the convention, is the professor. Is Professor Utonium from Powerpuff Girls. And then the favorite one that we're working towards is, again, back to that One Piece cosplay. I'm currently working on building Hiccup a cosplay of the Thousand Sunny, which is the pirate ship from One Piece that Luffy is captain of. So then she will be Captain Luffy, and then I will be Navigator Nami, and Hiccup will be Thousand Sunny, the pirate ship. So that's our big cosplay plan for him next year. He doesn't have a ton of costumes yet because I was waiting for him to be done growing before I started building him stuff. And we work smaller and then work our way up to bigger costumes. So simple things like he's been Pugsley for our Wednesday Addams group because it's simply a t-shirt. We start with smaller builds before we get into the big things so that he can get used to wearing costumes in general. He does have a cute dinosaur costume, but now that he's fully grown and a little older and a little more mature, we're starting to build him more stuff.
And can you tell the audience your social media, where we can find you?
Yeah, so our primary places to find us are TikTok and Instagram right now. We are at Toothless the Puppy on both. Then we also are working on building up our YouTube, and we have a Patreon as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.